everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And John.
JD.
And Omega level nerd Don here.
Yes, we gathered the whole crew this week because we got a very special episode. Not only are we going to be wrapping up our thoughts on WandaVision and where this is going, but we're also going to be doing Nerd Madness again this year. And I promise fans, we will finish it this year.
Did we not finish it last?
No, we didn't. No.
How did we not do that?
Was that, that was like when the pandemic started and nobody knew what was going on. And we were all like, are we all going to die tomorrow? So,
exactly. Yeah, remember, March is when everything started.
We were all brushing off our copies of The Stand to take notes on, you know.
For real, I was listening to, hold on one second, he's talking about The Stand. I was listening to the fourth book in the Gunslinger series, the Dark Tower. And when they entered the Stand world, it was like in April, right? When things were still crazy. And I couldn't get through it. Like, it was just like, it was giving me panic attacks. It was like, man, not now.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't the right time now to be listening to this.
We're at the 1 year anniversary of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. So
yeah.
That curve went flat and it got really, really high.
Well, speaking of being really, really high,
I wondered if we'd pick up on that one.
How are you, Don? How are things in your world?
You know, everything in my world, as always, is great. You know, I do have a 12-year-old son, and, you know, that's getting a little bit contentious, but hey, that's normal life. That's parenting. We'll get through it. Outside of that, though, you know, that they're looking like they're going to introduce the mutants pretty soon. So obviously, I've just been really excited about that.
Yeah, not the X-Men, the mutants. That's what they're calling it, right?
Right,
it's like,
right.
Yeah.
Although the logo looks exactly like the New Mutants logo without the word new in it. But that's apparently an homage to Stan Lee, which is cool.
Yes.
I'm all for that.
That's what he wanted to call it, not the X-Men or something, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I read.
Cool. And how about you, John?
I've been working too much, so like, you know, nobody wants to hear about that.
No.
Staying safe, fighting the mutant hordes, trying to get a vaccine. Yeah, otherwise, nothing.
Yeah, I think you're too young to qualify for the vaccine right now.
I'm too
and
young.
Healthy.
Yeah, too young. Me, it's like I'm too healthy.
And you don't work for a school or a hospital or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm a dirty nerd who can work from home.
Yes.
So,
unlike JD,
who's a dirty nerd who also works from home and at school, who got his second vaccine last week. So I'm inoculated.
Unfortunately, it didn't work, and you came back onto the podcast. So
that's not inoculation from podcasts; it's from COVID. Got a little headache. Got a little gout flare up, which was not comfortable, but that was about it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, apparently that's a flare. Apparently that's a side effect of just vaccines in general. Because I went to Google when it happened. It's 24 hours, and then I was fine the next day. So that
Dr.
was my
Google.
Yeah, Google. It's an incredible thing. So that was my week, because I got my second vaccine. Trying to finish a third draft of a book tonight and get it off to an editor. So yeah.
My daughter got her first shot on Saturday, and her arm was hurting all day from it.
Mine hurt worse the first time than the second time.
Okay.
Like the first one was sore for like 3 or 4 days. This one was sore for a day. So it was very uneventful. I was prepared to be like super, super sick, and I wasn't. I was like, it felt like I had like a mild hangover. So John gets that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Well,
John's used to that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's every day for me, so I wouldn't know.
So that's a Thursday for John.
What, you think this is water? I mean, geez.
Oh boy.
We've tried, John.
I'm down to the Everclear, you know? It's like
show is actually just I forget what you call them, an intervention. There you go.
Yes, it's an intervention for you, John.
Yeah.
Show would have been so much better if I could remember the word.
Just hold the keys of anime and comic books in front of me, and I forget for a while to take a drink. That's all.
Yes. So for me, uneventful week, I guess. Same old, same old. Down 1 more pound this week.
Excellent.
I've upped all the weights on the machines too this week, so
That means you're replacing.
That's very good. You're going to pump it up.
That's a good thing. If you're losing pounds and you're still up in weights, that means you're replacing muscle or fat with muscle. That's a really good sign.
Oh yeah. It's eventually I'll look good for someone. I don't know.
Hey, just wait. I'll catch up to you as soon as I can start running. But the weather here in Philadelphia has been really weird lately. Like
60 in Chicago.
Yeah, normally it's raining here for the first couple of weeks of March. Now it's like it's still reaching like 20 degrees at night. It's like,
but the rest of the week is supposed to be warm in the 60s.
Right, and then it's supposed to drop down. We're supposed to get snow.
But
March.
But you're going to be able to run for a couple days.
Yeah.
We always get that one snow in April. That you'll just get one day where you just get land-based with snow, and then it's like 50 degrees the next day, and it takes it all away.
Well, no, that's okay. So I volunteered on Saturday to it was a food drive thing, hand out food to needy people, food boxes, and it was supposed to be sunny. So we get there, everything's set up. We were packing things up, and and it starts snowing. We're all standing out there like, what? It's not supposed to do this. And it flurried on and off the whole day, but I mean, it was fine. So, yeah.
See, in Ohio where I live, every year my garage just gets out of control messy. And the reason why that happens is because it's November, it's warm, it's still warm, it's still warm. And then all of a sudden a blizzard hits. And we just throw everything in the garage, we close it, and it basically stays that way until everything thaws out, and then we have to clean the damn thing in spring. So that's how sudden the weather is in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
My deck is still full of snow. My lawn has got no more snow, but my deck kind of stays out of the sun all day. So it's all full of snow and dog shit. Because my dogs have gotten too lazy to get out into. We built this corral for them off the deck where they could poop. And then they were like, we'll just go right here. And now that there's all kinds of snow outside, I keep looking at it. And it's like melting. And I bought this new power washer. So as soon as the snow is melted enough, I'm just going to take it to the deck and wash the poop off.
Nice.
I can't wait. I'm very excited. Homeownership, baby.
This is really beginning to sound like old man TV.
For real.
For the things that excite JD. All right.
Well, car washes are cool.
Yeah, well, they are.
They are. Strip paint.
I'm going to switch things up a little bit before we get to our main thing of the evening. Let's do our social media madness.
Oh. Yeah, all right, fine.
So the first thing actually I'm going to mention is oh shoot, did I forget to include the tweet? So our fans hate us, guys.
Yeah.
Well, that's again.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised. What specifically?
So
what did we do this time?
So I put a poll out on Twitter. Should we do the Snyder Cut? Do a live commentary track?
Oh yeah, to a man, to a child, they are probably like, oh, absolutely. We love Schadenfreude. I mean,
what's more fun than watching a man suffer?
Yeah.
So basically, the question was, should superheroes speak torture themselves and do a live commentary track for the Snyder Cut? I gave everyone 3 options. Yes, your pain is our gain. No, that's cruel. And 3, what's a Snyder Cut? Which is actually a secret vote for number 1. And overwhelmingly, at 68.6%, they said, yes, your pain is our gain. So,
it's a little lower than I thought it would be, in all honesty, 68%. I thought it would be closer to 80, to be honest with you.
If you add the 11.4% to that.
What's a Snyder Cut?
Yeah.
Those people, what are those people?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know who following us on Twitter or voting for this would not know what a Snyder cut is?
There's only two types of people in the world: the people that can't believe it's coming out and already hate it, and the people that are like, "Oh yeah, I want to see this. Is going to be awesome."
That's what I'm saying. Who are these 11% of people?
Qatar.
Are they being
those are the people from Qatar.
Qatarians?
That's right.
Oh, we haven't announced it on the show. Dave, you need to tell our listeners about this phenomenal news.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay. It wasn't on the show notes. I'm excited.
I just found out about this before we got on air. So we have some comments on this poll. Timothy Jones
Of course.
said, absolutely, if anyone can torture themselves for a good reason, it's you guys.
Or even not for a good reason.
Tim is
equal opportunity. It's like
Tim is hell bent on never not being mentioned again.
yeah.
The Gorilla Brain podcast said, normally I wouldn't subject DC movies to anyone over the last 10 years, but I'm greenlighting this.
Fair enough.
And this is a good one. So Manuel Caramona said, what's the point? From listening to your podcast, you've already decided to hate it. And I'm not even a Snyder fan.
Thanks for listening.
Well, yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Do you know that person, Dave? Manuel Carmona? Do you know that person?
Not personally, no.
Okay, because he seems like a Russian bot. You must have corrected his English because his tweet reads, what's the point? So I'm getting some Russian bot vibes, but okay.
Hey, if that guy actually listens to the show, thank you.
Or English is his second language, and
Maybe
again, we're
he's
back
in
to
guitar.
guitar.
That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Usually
Yeah.
Usually we get responses from people who clearly don't listen to our show.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if someone actually takes the time to listen, they're allowed to be snipey with us from time to time. Thank you, sir.
And just to be absolutely clear, yes, I am basically ready to really hate the thing, but I will have an open enough mind that when I see it, if it's fair to middling, I'll go with fair middling. I just cannot see it being anywhere near good, given what we know and knowing Snyder.
We didn't like the 2-hour version. How are we supposed to like the 4-hour version?
Yeah.
With no possibility of any continuation.
Right. Most people would say though that the 2-hour version, you hated it because it was mixed in with,
and
stuff. But
if all the rumors are to believe, it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Which is just perfect. Which would just be freaking perfect. If you make me sit 4 hours or something and give me a cliffhanger,
yes.
boy, oh boy, you're going to get a hell of a review on this show that week.
Yeah.
Next week?
I think we get one
18th.
more week.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 days.
March 18th.
Yeah.
We've decided how we're going to watch it. Sorry, Don.
But hey, if we even because I'm fully hate watching it, like fully hate watching it. But let's say I think it's good, then it's if I come out of this thing even lukewarm, it's good. Oh yeah, I'm ready to hate.
You understand, Don, that you're part of being on this episode, right?
I understand.
You're here. You're part of it.
I just wanted to make it clear. I hate watching it.
We'll have to decide if we're going to like man cry separately, watching it, individually, or man cry together.
Well, another question is too, 4 hours. Are we doing that one sitting together, or is this like, because we can't do that on normal Monday.
So I think what we're going to have to do is do it on a Saturday or something.
Yeah.
Record it. Then we're going to probably have to break it up because I don't know if anyone's going to want a full 4-hour commentary track. Oh, and putting this out there now, ladies and gentlemen, because somebody asked me this in a personal, like a side message. A friend of mine said, "Are you guys going to do it, Mystery Science 3000 style?" And it's like, well, no, we can't show the actual movie. Copyright. We don't want to be sued. So you'll see us. We'll be watching it on another screen, commenting, and then
So what we should do is we should actually put a downloadable MP3 on the website. So if someone actually wants to have the full 4-hour version, they could just download that, and then when the lion roars for the second time, you press play, and then
Yeah, wasn't no. That's an actual file that you can create. By the guys who did MST3K.
Riff track.
That's what they. Yeah, riff track. Right. Yeah, just create a riff track. Right.
That's what basically we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
That's literally what we're doing. I'm just saying you just put it on the website.
It'll be downloadable. Yes.
Yeah.
So they'll have the full experience.
Yes,
we're all going to watch it together though, like this, watching it, or
sure, why not?
Okay, I can do that.
All right, moving on.
Now that we got that all worked out.
Yep. Now that you know how just how bad the torture is going to be,
but
open mind, really.
So
I'm going to preview it. I'm going to watch it ahead of time, so I have all my jokes ready to go.
I want them to see my dismay like in real time.
Your dismay? Your dismay?
My dismay, my the breaking of my soul. I want them to see that as it happens.
You put a weird accent mark on dismay. Sorry, I just threw me for a second.
John learned a lot of words by reading them before he actually knew how to pronounce them.
That's what you get for having a 12th grade reading capacity at 6.
So we had talked last week about they've confirmed there won't be a WandaVision Season 2.
Well, where could you go with it, really?
The Nick said, I think that decision not to have a second season of WandaVision makes perfect sense. So, yes.
Especially after having watched it.
Exactly. And Random Randy Savage said, yeah, it makes no sense to continue. Best to leave the characters to their respective movies that are coming. And Gateway Comics said, I think given the way that the story is going, that is no surprise. This is a movie in installments, not a TV series. Yes. So
look at it.
Yeah.
And of course, WandaVision refers to the actual TV show that she broadcast.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through the finale, Hayward McShittyface, that's what I call him on our podcast.
That's fair.
Literally says they're not broadcasting anymore. So WandaVision actually ended like halfway through this last episode. That's just, so yeah, I'm going to agree with those sentiments that everybody had.
Plus, they went through all the good sitcoms. Like, there's nothing really they can pull from. So,
well, and again, it's funny because I don't know if I would call it a movie. It's an experience. Like, this wouldn't have worked in the theater as a movie.
No,
definitely not.
It had to be done on TV. It's kind of like trying to make The Watchmen a movie.
Well, it's completely unique.
Very similar.
And that's what's great about Marvel is that they're, they got into a rut with the sky beams or the bad guy, the villain that has the same powers as the hero, but like they're still branching out and doing stuff like this, which is just.
They kind of did that in what? Yeah.
Well, okay. So I just proved. Yeah.
They actually kind of doubled down on it this time around.
They kind of did.
Oh my god!
But we still liked it.
They did double down on it, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was still cool.
It worked. It was great. We got 2 Wandas and 2 we got 2 witches and 2 visions. So
it made sense though, right? In the contents of the storyline, it made sense.
No, I'm not saying it didn't make sense, but we still kind of got that.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to that in 1 minute. And finally, we had said we had announced there's going to be a new Supergirl in the Flash movie, played by I can't remember the woman's name. From The Young and the Restless, and Gateway Comics said, I never judge a movie by the casting. Story and quality of production make it a good movie, not the specific cast. So, like, okay, that's fine, but
it's funny, we were pretty positive on the casting.
I know, we were nice about it.
I don't judge a movie by the cast. Well, you really kind of should judge a movie by the casting. You should watch the movie first, but I mean, like, we weren't passing judgment. We're doing this weird thing where we're creating conversation, so...
And it's Sasha Callie?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
That's about
Callie.
I like you forgot the name, but you remembered The Young and the Restless. Didn't miss a beat. Name that sitcom or the name of the soap opera. Excuse me. What's her name from Young and the Restless?
What's Dave got on his TV while he's working?
Yes.
Huh?
His stories.
My stories.
Right. That's exactly what my grandma used to say. I watched my stories. Turn the cartoons off.
It's hilarious.
12 o'clock. My store isn't coming on.
Well, if you want to know how you can be a part of social media madness, here's our good friend, wrong way, D Square to tell you more. All right, thank you for that, Don. And don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available.
Yes, please, if you could, spread the good words about the Omega Level Nerds.
A big shout out to our fans in Qatar. Apparently, on the Apple Podcast listings, we are number 4, down 3 spots from last week. But, you know, you guys boost us up again this week, and we'll appreciate it. And that news was brought to us by Joey DiCarlo from So Wizard. Big shout out to him. He announced on his podcast this week that he's back to the gym. And then Marcellus made a joke about you should start posting selfies. And I'm thinking, these guys are like talking about me, aren't they? Because I started posting the selfies.
They are.
The gym. You bastards. Anyway, on that note, we're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Want to be part of social media madness? Make sure you're following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the social media links for the show at the top of the page. While you're there, check out previous episodes of the podcast as well as other great content. And check the site often because we are posting great comic book reviews as well as other comic book and movie content every day. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Simply follow them at *_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pup Prism Power Podcast, Colt 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Super Hero Speak. Search for GW All-Stars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
WandaVision.
You keep posting selfies.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. That's fine. It's helping.
Yeah. We get a lot of likes on the Superhero Speak Instagram with it. So anyway. WandaVision, guys. It's over.
It is.
Though they announced there is a super secret episode 10.
There is?
No, there's a behind the scenes episode they're releasing.
I was gonna
I'm looking forward to that. I will watch that. I enjoy behind
They did have 10 episodes planned, but
I thought I heard heard something about 10 episodes, but yeah.
Huh.
They thought it was just much tighter and they cut it to 9.
That's a good call. It was.
Yeah.
There was no big down moments where you were down in the show. It all kept a good pace. So I agree. And I like those making ofs they did with every episode of Mandalorian. So yeah, I'm good. I'm on board.
So
they really punished us for all of those, assumptions.
So I actually saw an article, and I can't remember what website it was on. I didn't read it. I just saw the headline, and it was an actual article saying WandaVision failed to deliver on promises it never made.
The website was Collider.
Yes, that was it.
And I read the article, and that guy is a dick. He was a real dick about it.
Oh, so it wasn't a joke. He was being serious about the...
Oh, the whole thing was the snarkiest, and this is for me. It was the snarkiest thing I've ever read in my entire life. I got through about 40% of the article, and I was like, fuck this guy. And I just turned it, and I just, closed it down. He had points. I don't know if it's, I don't think it's a problem if you have fan theories. We did it for weeks, and it's part of the fun. It's like reading comics. You're trying to guess what happens next.
And it's not like they didn't give you reason to, they gave you so much cannon fodder for those theories, right?
They did. And you had the key with it is you can't take it personally when your chosen theory doesn't come through. You just got to be oh, I was wrong.
Exactly.
There was a lot of people that didn't feel that way, though. There was a lot of people that were like angry at the show.
Yeah, it can't be that.
And that's the thing that I found interesting. Like, number one, I think you're right. That's one of the reasons week to week works, because it kept us talking about it. It kept everyone talking about it, coming up with theories and whatnot, and that's part of the fun of enjoying it this way. But yeah, like, I think there was only one theory that a lot of people had that didn't come true, and it's like, it's not a big deal. We'll see it in the next movie. And that's that they were going to show something related to the multiverse.
It's true. We did not get much of a hint.
No,
multiverse, but,
other than the mention of the Nexus.
Yeah.
The two biggest things that we thought were going to happen was House of M / Mephisto. They referred to House of M on one of her champagne bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the story is following a lot closely to what happened with Mephisto and Agatha Harkness and the twins being soul shards of Mephisto, crazy comic book shit. But outside of that, I really don't feel that they really promised anything. And even in the things I just mentioned, nothing was promised.
No.
As an X-Men fan, I was excited. Oh, House of M. Oh my God. But okay, it didn't happen. That's okay. That's not the story they were telling today.
I think it was the MCU's version of House of M. Is the best way to put it.
It could be. You could look at it that way, because you're not going to get a world where they're going to quite do what they did in House of M. But I mean, we kind of got a close version of it. I think you're right about that.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, Captain America's Civil War wasn't what Civil War was like in the comics.
Right. It was better.
This is true, and we've read both. We've read that and watched it. So,
it's funny listening to just before the show today. I got to listen to Kevin Smith's show, and they had the director whose name is escaping me at the moment. I wrote it down, but it's downstairs. They had the director on. He was talking about stuff they threw out intentionally as Easter eggs and stuff that they didn't. And he mentioned that they were doing stuff week to week on the show to kind of make stuff a little bit more seamless. And they like the stuff with the aerospace engineer. All they were trying to do was explain where the hell the rover came from. Because they edited and like, oh shit, she just has this thing. We should explain kind of where it came from. They literally get, I know an aerospace engineer, and everybody, oh my god, it's Reed Richards,
or Blue Marvel or something, right?
And everybody when they were like, oh shit, we didn't see that coming.
Matt Shackman, by the way.
Matt, there you go. Yeah. Originally a member of the cast of Good Morning Miss Bliss, which turned to Saved by the Bell. Interesting trivia note. So that was an interesting and illuminating interview. But and I mentioned something. It's like I agree with Don. They teased the hell out of Mephisto. It wasn't just if you knew it, because I watched the whole show the Thursday night. Like I sat down, I'm going to watch this whole thing in one sitting, and there's a lot of devil talk in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're intentionally doing it, and I was listening to this interview, right? And Kevin, and they don't talk about Mephisto. He's like, oh yeah, they explain about this. He goes, there are things we threw out intentionally. He just kind of left it alone. And then he goes, oh yeah, people. And then Kevin goes, oh, yeah, they thought Hayward was Mephisto. And he goes, yeah, everybody was Mephisto. And he just and he was put in the conversation. And I went, are you telling me something? And I could just be reading it again, but I mean, there's just too much of it to ignore. And it could just be, them just playing with people like us. I'm absolutely willing to say, sure, they play with people like us.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% willing to say that's it. I'm not willing to write off that there was not. Because I go back to episode 2 with Donnie, the devil's in the details, and Agatha whispers, it's not the only place he is. Right. You can't say that's a coincidence.
But there's other stuff. There's other stuff too, like Hayward knowing that Wanda could bring Vision back before anybody else knew what her real powers were.
There's stuff going on that we don't know about yet, which is fine.
I'll bring something up here. Spider-Man Far From Home. All the villains in that were deep cuts from prior movies. Right?
Far From Home?
Yeah.
Far From Home. Yeah, all the villains, the whole villain team were all people that had been wronged by Tony Stark through all the previous movies. So there is no guarantee that they won't pick up some of these unanswered questions and use that as a springboard for something else. Like they may make it actually happen in a movie later on.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like the show ended with a lot of open-ended questions.
Tons.
Well, because I think this show, it had a lot less goals than we thought it did. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Because once you ride the series, what does this show do? It sets up the Scarlet Witch, as well as it sets up Photon and Spectrum to a lesser degree. And then, of course, it puts the fact that we now have White Vision out there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, and sets up the two kids, Billy and Tommy. Wicked and Speed.
And Chthon and the Darkhold.
That's they did a lot.
Chthon
maybe not,
I think they're going. I think they may be going there, but they may intertwine him and Mephisto.
I think that might be the way to go with it. I think that's probably what they're going to do, because when she's reading, by the way, great post-credit sequence. Loved it.
Yeah.
Gore Mountain? That Gore Mountain?
Yeah.
Yep.
I wondered that.
No, everybody I've read, wonderful.
So, or an alliterate or a facsimile of. Love that her doing the astral projection reading thing. Great. Nice little homage, because we're going to Doctor Strange next.
But she can do it where Doctor Strange has to be passed out.
Yeah. She's making a cup of tea.
Well, how crazy was it that Agatha Harkness, and I never realized this before, maybe you guys knew this, when she's like the Scarlet Witch trumps the Sorcerer Supreme.
I caught that too.
Like, whoa, okay.
That's a level up like we've never seen before.
Yeah.
So again, that immediately good writing sets us up for the fact that she's probably a villain or an antagonist or some type of an opposing force to Stephen Strange in the next movie. But then you get the whisper from the kids, and that felt like that set us up for a multiverse. I thought it set us up for hell, quite frankly. And I could be wrong on that. Again, I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not necessarily that, because even Mephisto isn't really the devil. Like they go out of their way to make sure, Mephisto, except for Joe Quesada that one time, Mephisto's not really the devil. He's kind of the devil. And again, watching that show again, they're pointing it. Like they clearly want you to think it's Mephisto. The holding on the fly, all this, and I kept like trying to do color analysis when I was reading it, and I'm like, oh man, there's all this red versus blue opposing color theory, and then it occurred to me, oh yeah, red's the Scarlet Witch. I was reading way too into that. I kept looking for Mephisto, and I'm like, oh no, it's just Wanda.
Well, we know the magic comes from the dark dimension because it's purple, just like it
does.
So
yeah, I'm not convinced that some of the stuff we thought happened won't happen. Or they were just playing with us, which is fine. They at least wanted us to think that. The other stuff that people went crazy with, fair enough. Like I've shared the Arcana Jones thing because we all thought that Emma Caulfield had to be somebody important, and she wasn't. She was just a neighbor.
Somebody that wanted her kid to be able to come out of the bedroom.
Nice scene, by the way. Yeah, really, really good scene. So we got to the second to last episode this week, and I remember saying something like, man, we had to kind of start tamping down our theories, because I didn't see narratively speaking where they were going to fit all this stuff in.
Right.
Like it just wasn't, by the time you get to the Agatha episode, you're like, okay, none of this stuff that we think could happen is going to happen.
They weren't going to fit Stephen Strange coming in and all that.
Right. Or we were kind of hoping maybe some more X-Men stuff, and it just didn't make sense to fit that in, which is fine. It was a story about Wanda grieving, and it was the way to go. Was they, instead of just doing all fan service, they kept telling a story, which is what you should do. Right.
And if she does show up to be the villain in the Multiverse of Madness, although I think she might start off as kind of villainous, but I don't know. I'm sensing a Doctor Strange Scarlet Witch team up. But anyway, once she is established as a early villain, whatever, we get it. We now understand all that she went through, all that she suffered through in graphic detail. So you can't do the whole Game of Thrones, she's a bad guy out of nowhere, even though that wasn't the case. But you certainly cannot do that at this point.
We had 9 episodes of TV plus Endgame, plus Infinity War and Endgame to get us there. Anything about her makes sense. She might be the most developed character in the Marvel universe at this point.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like you
That's
said,
alive.
That's
alive. Yeah, true. Tony.
I mean, yes, that being, other than Tony, like who else has had as much character development as Wanda? You know,
Did you guys like her costume?
loved.
Yeah, the costume was good.
Yeah.
I called it. I said they're softening us up to actually give her the tiara.
Yes,
and
she
they
did.
and God, did it look awesome. She looked great in it. Like
Yeah.
she came down and I'm like, oh my God, she looks incredible like this.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the Scarlet Witch outfit was I thought about you, Don. I'm like, ooh, that's very Magneto looking
Yes.
in its presentation. I was like,
Oh
ooh,
yeah.
Oh,
There's
even
been
the
lots
little
of
symbol in the
Yeah.
middle looks
Yep.
almost exactly like it.
Again, intentional. They want
Yeah.
us to think this.
Right.
But yeah, definite Magneto vibes into it. I liked it,
Oh,
man.
yeah, and there was definite. I mean, there's been comparisons online all over the place to her and Magneto from the movies. So yeah, definite. Like
There were some complaints. People didn't think the tiara was big enough.
Oh no,
but-
it's fine. As we saw
No,
what
it
a big
is.
tiara looks like.
Yeah.
That looks ridiculous.
like
like,
guys,
intentionally.
when Wolverine shows up, he's not going to have the big flaps
Yeah.
coming out. Okay, it's
Yep.
going to be way toned down because what looks good in comic books does not always look good in the real life. So we
And it's
gotta
kind of
have-
hard to act in some of that stuff too.
Right.
It's
You know,
like, yeah.
big the lens
Like,
you have
huh?
to use to get the whole thing in the frame.
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, I thought she looked awesome in it. Like, she's so good, and they set it up great. Like, good writing. How she put the runes in the hex. Like,
Yeah. that was
really
slick.
good. It was really well thought of.
Now, again, me being the DC guy and you guys being Marvel, doesn't reading the Darkhold like take over your mind? Like
I
I
don't
thought
know.
that
I've
was I
never-
thought that was the case. Like
Could
just
be.
like,
I mean-
most of
It's
what I
not
know of the
gonna
Darkhold
do-
comes from Agents of Shield, and I'm sure that's like
If you're- If you're
different.
talking about Joe Blow picks it up and reads it, yes. If you're talking about Sorcerer Supreme, Scarlet Witch, people
Oh,
that know
no.
what they're doing with the thing,
right.
You know,
right.
But that's the thing though, she doesn't know what she's doing.
she didn't know how to do any of this, yet it
Yeah.
spontaneously happened.
She,
That was the whole point of episode 8.
she
Right.
is like, when as an athlete, she is the person that would always frustrate you because you're sitting there putting all the work in, and she just steps in and she's awesome immediately. And you're like, why can't I be this good? That's
Yeah.
Wanda.
Yeah, she's Manute Bol if Manute Bol had Michael Jordan skills instead of toothpicks for legs. An old reference for you guys.
That's a deep cut. Yeah, I dug the whole thing. I do wonder if I wonder if she's being manipulated by whatever's from the Darkhold, if those are
Yeah.
actually the kids.
Cathan.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna go straight up Cathan, because that's like really watered down Lovecraft stuff. And I don't know, like I don't know, but I think that it might be some type of Nightmare Mephisto. I think we'll find a happy medium between all those characters into something different. What that is, I don't know, but there's clearly something else going on there. And like, the kids weren't going to die, even with that intensely emotional scene.
Yeah.
Like,
Dear Lord.
Yeah.
oh,
Well, I mean,
Could you imagine JD putting
No.
your child to bed knowing
Oh.
this is it?
no, absolutely not. Like, I think my brain was focusing on unmet fan theories, so I wouldn't have to think about the ramifications
Oh man,
of
yeah.
essentially watching your child die.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
it was-
because it's much easier to be mad about who Quicksilver is than to
Right.
watch kids die.
Which
you
which
know?
is
Owner.
pretty ballsy for Disney. But again, like at the end, if you really think about it, the kids are probably coming back because they're definitely coming back as new Avengers at some point.
yes.
Yeah.
And what Fake Vision gave White Vision all the memories he was missing. So the
Sure.
only question now is whether he can get his emotions
that's-
back because he
No.
doesn't have the Mind Stone anymore.
No, he's not gonna. It's like he has all the memories, but he's not he has the body and he has the memories, but it's not the same person.
Well,
Right.
does the memories make a person though? Isn't
No.
your memories what make you you?
No, it's your emotions that make you.
Right, and that's
Right,
what I'm
it's how
saying.
you
He doesn't have the
feel.
Mind Stone, which
Right.
was part of his original Matrix. So
And
maybe
that's
he
the
doesn't have emotion yet. But
that's the White Vision. I love the ship of Theseus. That whole. I mean, because
So-
it could have broken down, and they went something smarter, and I appreciated that.
So I'll
that was
I'm gonna
it. That was a really good. Sorry.
number one. I did say last week that White Vision would still be around at the end.
Mhm.
I'd like to give myself a point there.
I ask her my flowers all the time. You can do the same.
But I would like to point out that this is not comic book Vision. This is
No.
MCU Vision. They are two.
Mhm.
They are two different characters, and we know part of the Mind Stone lives in Wanda,
Yep.
and she used that to create a Vision that had his emotions. There is a possibility she could give that back to Vision at some point.
Thematically, doesn't that just cheapen out what we just watched? Like, isn't making Wanda suffer with the grief a better storytelling mechanism than being able to just essentially resurrect Vision?
It does, unless they make her work for it.
Right.
Yeah.
If they put her through the ringer to go on a quest, whatever movie it takes, probably not Multiverse of Madness, but like some movie thereafter where like she goes through hell to get him back, then that's kind of worth it, right? That's a big payoff.
I feel like we're not going to get that. I feel like the whole last episode is her accepting losing Vision.
Right.
And the quest will be to find the children.
Yeah.
More so.
Right. Well,
Vision.
this quest, like the Multiverse of Madness, is going to involve the children, right? I mean,
I don't know if we're going to keep going.
We don't know.
Especially
they
with
could
Vision
put them on
around.
ice for a while until they're ready to do the Young Avengers.
I can't see that though, because the only way they're going to get them, she's got the dark hold. There's no way they're just going to ignore that for Multiverse of Madness.
Oh God, no. That's going to be the spurring event. That's what's going to be. But just because she's looking for them doesn't necessarily mean she's going to find them. Because like in Young Avengers, it's very, very different how the kids come back. So, and we don't know if they're going to do that or if they're going to. I think it'd be cleaner if they kept them as twins who know each other rather than like it takes I think 10 or 12 issues before they find Billy or Tommy. Like Billy's around from the get-go, and it takes a while to find Tommy. You don't even know who they are for a year. And they can't. I don't know if they're going to go that route. I think there's a cleaner way to get there, but we don't know. And I think they're going to say hello again, and Wanda's going to realize it's not just like similar to the comics. It's not her Vision, and I think then I do think if they wind up back together, it cheapens the story that we just watched.
Well, I mean,
narratively speaking,
it depends. It depends on what she goes through to get them back.
Well, right? JD, some of us like happy endings.
Not the Marvel people.
I know.
Well, true. Yeah, I know, right?
Like they're not into that at all.
But I think sometimes people can come back together and be happy. Damn it.
Well, but we had Tony and Pepper. That was their story.
I know.
Nobody else. We had Cap and Peggy. They were happy. Nobody else gets to be happy.
You have to, like, you can't have too many. You can't go full Gennady Tartakovsky or J. Michael Straczynski on every relationship. You need a balance. You need people. Yeah. You need a happy balance.
We have Peter Parker and MJ.
Well, we don't know how that's going to end at the end.
No, but I mean, but we know, but they're not going through that. But at the same time, like in the comics, Vision and Wanda never get back together.
That's true.
Like, I don't know why we have this expectation because they're so good together. Like, there's such great chemistry, and they've done a better job in the MCU than they did in the comics of making you really feel for this relationship. So we should want them to be back together. It's the thing. That's why the sitcoms do is they want you there. How many sitcoms are based on this idea of us wanting this couple to get the Ross and Rachel, if you will? We want them to be together, but they never get them back together. But the hint is always there. I see that being a reality more so than the two of them getting back together.
Ross and Rachel ended up back together at the end.
Yeah. They did because they ended the show.
Yeah. Just to interject here, I swear I read somewhere that those two kids that played the kids are like on retainer. They're not going anywhere. So like they may like just wait for them to age up to play the new, the new Avengers. Right. They're not, they're supposed to be like, they're older than 10, right? I don't know how old the kids are.
I would assume they're probably about 10. No, well, they're teenagers.
Right.
So, but what they can do is they have the ability, we've already seen them age them up. They can age them up and ever. They'll use those kids because we recognize them, like visually, we connect to them.
Well, it won't take that long for them to like, if they're going to hit puberty and.
Well, no, I mean, they're going to hit puberty, but they're not going to get to the right spot. Because, I mean, we've already got Hawkeye coming. We've already got Stature. Like Stature's been introduced. Hawkeye is coming when we get like the Kate Barton Hawkeye. Bishop Hawkeye, she's
Yeah.
coming.
Mhm.
Like we are.
Haley Steinfeld, right?
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld. She's
Ironheart is coming. Riri
Ironheart
Williams.
is coming. So I mean, they're gonna want someone older, but I mean, we've seen these kids aged up, and in the comics, it's not Billy and Tommy Maximoff. Like they have different names because it's very comic booky, but they get reincarnated.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know,
Wiccan and Speed.
Wiccan and Speed. So we'll get them, and we'll get kids that probably look enough like them, but they're gonna want older actors. You know.
Wiccan had a very big part in the last Marvel crossover, the Empire crossover, because him and Hulkling are an item.
Mhm.
So LGBT community is excited about these characters as well. So we'll get him back. I will ask you this though about a Vision, because I think he's coming back full blown. I think he's coming back at some point. Maybe we deal with White Vision for a little bit, but I think he's coming back. And the reason why I think that. Why didn't Vision tell Wanda, oh, yeah, by the way, there's a white me running around. You might want to look for that.
She saw him.
Not after their fisticuffs.
That's true.
She doesn't know what happened to him.
That's true.
So she's going to come across him and say, oh, hey, got something for you. And then,
Well, I saw somebody ask the question, his programming was to destroy Vision.
Right.
And then he said, I am Vision. So
right.
The argument is, well, then why didn't he destroy himself?
That self-preservation was not part of his programming.
Yes.
It's legit.
But once he got his memory back, maybe he became part of his programming.
If they were going to blow him up, we would have seen that, because that would have made for a good moment.
And some censor somewhere is going to say, hey, $3 billion of vibranium over here. Someone like damage control, somebody is going to...
They've already answered it, though. Like they said, the Vision, when Vision said, like, your brain is a carbon-based matrix, like they can't take those memories from you. They still exist in there. They can program him to do stuff, but he's got a measure of free will because his brain is too complex for them to fully control. So, he could easily have with just that one philosophical question of the ship of Theseus, and him now thinking, oh, I am Vision, but I'm not Vision. Right there, you've got a paradox that can easily break you out of everything. And just
that was a brilliant moment. Whoever wrote that was just like,
Jack Schaefer. She's a good writer.
Yeah.
But there's a nice little springboard to do a Vision story, a Vision quest, which was the comic story,
right?
If you will. So we're gonna see Vision again. Where I don't know if they'll lead into a Vision show, but he'll be a part of something. I don't have the MCU calendar in front of me, but Paul Bettany doesn't want to leave. Like, he loves playing Vision.
He just turned 50 too.
So
he's got.
Yeah, I'm not a 52.
No, 50. He just turned 50. Like, yeah.
I'm not the biggest Avengers fan, but when I picture the Avengers in my head, Vision's there.
Yeah, me too.
To me.
Yeah.
So he's iconic.
Absolutely. And they'll because that's probably the best moment in Age of Ultron, a movie that I think has gotten better with age, but the best moment is when he picks up the hammer.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great scene. And he's been such a good, like, Paul Bettany's been a day one MCU guy. So I mean, like, I don't think they're gonna get rid of him. But I mean, I don't know where we go from here.
So given that, though, I'm going to go back to something I said like last week. Again, we now have White Vision at the very least, Photon, Captain Marvel, and the full on Scarlet Witch. Like, we have all these incredibly heavy hitters now. Like, the next big bad is going to have to be pretty damn big and bad to challenge those people.
Yeah,
I told you.
Most of those people you named were declared too powerful for the MCU.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
YouTubers.
By Comics Explained. Yeah. And he was right. Yeah.
JD planted his flag last week.
I did. It's Dr. Doom.
Doom's ass.
We're getting Dr. Doom.
And if you go by canon, he's OP too, and that would be a proper, challenge for all those people working together. You might have to even bring Blue Marvel in for him. And the Fantastic Four.
We just had the Fantastic Four. That's all you need for really. Like, this is good stuff. Like there's so much stuff to take in when this show ended, like, and trying to figure out, like, the one thing there's only one thing that bothered me that I did not like about the show, and it was the Evan Peters write-off, where they're like, there's two things about him.
Yeah, that
like,
was
he's
an
saying,
epic troll.
the director said, "Oh, it's because I was on Growing Pains. It's a joke about Boner from Growing Pains." I don't believe that. Like, I don't buy that.
How does he get his super speed?
Does Agatha have the power to bestow superhuman abilities on the people?
Since you brought it up, the only news article I grabbed for this week, since I saw that one, is that Evan Peters, they still have plans for him in the MCU. The director
the journey
said,
of Boner.
Well, let me throw this one out to you, John. This is the other thing that bothered me, and this is going to lead into where I know we're going to go with this. Who's Jimmy Woo's witness protection?
Oh yeah, nobody.
person?
We never found out. Right.
Well,
like I said, that goes back to the fact that there's still other questions, like what happened to the bee guy?
Yep.
Like
maybe Boner is a made up name, and that's who was the witness protection person.
Could be Ralph Boner.
Because there was already a Pietro on this earth who died, and so they were protecting him.
Oh yeah, and can we also, as an aside, say that Wu is like just the best?
Oh, Randall Park's phenomenal.
That guy
absolutely
is
phenomenal.
Awesome.
He has his own book, Agents of Atlas. That's what they should eventually. Those are some weird ass characters. If you have Randall Park leading his own superhero, like weird superhero team, it would be phenomenal Disney TV. Like,
we'll bring him and Darcy together, like, because Darcy, the way she was written here was,
she's great. She's
awesome.
always great. But but there is like Jimmy Woo does have a team of superheroes in the comics, like, and they're weird characters. Like, it would make for a great Disney Plus series.
He's
but
the
Dave,
next Coulson.
He's better than Coulson, to be quite honest with you. Like, I way prefer Jimmy Woo to the Coulson character. Dave, continue.
Yes.
Continue. We were discussing this.
My browser locked up, but so the director from WandaVision did confirm that he's on retainer, and they still have plans to use him in future projects. And my son, that was his theory, that maybe that's what it was, is that he was the person that was under witness protection, because we know that he was under Agatha's control, but that's not saying that she didn't give him that she gave him super speed. Like, and again, my son pointed out, we talked about how they don't do anything by accident, and my son also pointed out when they showed the other side, and he was already there and knocking on the door before she hexed him to control him.
That's like, I don't know how much of that sequence of the Agatha was there all along sequence is, meant to be taken as this happened in real time,
Yeah.
But that being said, the level of coincidence that they just happened to buy a house next to the same guy who looks identical to her twin brother from an alternate universe. It's weird. It's a weird level of coincidence. And could it be they're just trolling? Yes, but they do this a lot. What I mean by this is, like, okay, remember the big Mandarin fake out that JD will never let go of?
Oh God.
They'll never let go of.
No, I'm right with you there.
So what happened? But what happened immediately afterwards? You know what? Not really the Mandarin. There is a Mandarin.
Right.
Remember the Quentin Beck fake out? I'm from a parallel universe. Really? No, not really. But there is a parallel universe, by the way. So I'm kind of feeling like this is Quicksilver. No, not really. Maybe kind of.
Yeah.
Because they do this. This is kind of their pattern. Is they kind of slap you with, "Nope, we got you." Not really.
Right.
But like, this is literally like falls in line with how they keep doing things. And like I said last week, it doesn't matter who Evan Peters revealed to be. The door is still open to the X-Men because we still have Deadpool coming.
Yeah. Oh, and we also know that Paul Bettany loves himself.
Yes, he does.
like he is just the greatest person on the earth to himself.
Boy, I think if they'd so that was one of those things I didn't think he realized what it would take. And that we focus on the Luke Skywalker comment a lot. Bad on me for not reading the actual interview where the reporter basically puts that in Elizabeth Olsen's mouth. Like she never says it's a Luke Skywalker. Like he goes, is there a Luke Skywalker like moment? And she's like, well, yeah, because again, that's the Evan Peters reveal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's because it is. I mean, that like when that happened, everybody was like, oh my God, huge.
Well, I kind of thought the Luke Skywalker moment was Photon, like
could have been,
like
well,
her stepping around the bullets.
But we all saw that coming.
Could have been the White Vision.
Could have been White Vision.
But,
I'm going to lean into that being.
Well, actually, Paul Bettany did come out and say that the actor he always wanted to work with was himself. Yes.
Right, but I don't think he thought that people would be digging into like 20-year-old interviews with them to find something. You know,
well,
like.
And in doing so, in kind of digging around for that, I did hear rumors that they were possibly looking to cast Mark Hamill as Nightmare. And that's still rumor, it's unsubstantiated, but why not? I think he would do a great job, and that's why I think they might go with Nightmare instead of Mephisto or...
Which is fine. If they were to take Nightmare and make him that, works for me. Like people keep saying Mephisto's a hard character to pull off. I don't think he is, but there's a lot of people that I get the counter arguments. People are like, well, you can't do the devil in China. I'm like, well, he's like, because there's no occult. You know, they've avoided the occult. I'm like, bro, did you actually watch that show? There's no occult avoidance whatsoever. This is like full on embracement of the occult. So I don't buy that. But if they choose to kind of steer away from the Judeo-Christian thing and make it all Nightmare, I'm fine with it. And you know who's got an awesome voice? Would be Mark Hamill.
Yes. Yeah.
I would be a big fan of that. I would have zero problem with Mark Hamill as anyone villain in the Marvel universe.
So basically, geez, I can't bring it back up again. Oh, yeah, here we go. He pointed out that what did he say? How did he say it? We'll have to meet again some Monday in the future. Talking about Evan Peters. And basically he said that the show was about Wanda's grief, and if they pulled the whole bringing the multiverse and stuff, they felt would have taken away from that story.
It would have. He's right. They're 100% right. Is we all kind of got duped into, because we like all the Easter eggs. Easter eggs are fun, but you can't do. So you can actually do something that's just about Easter eggs, and that's what Age of Ultron really devolved into for a big chunk of this early third act. Or late second act, and it didn't leave anybody like really satisfied. Like everyone kind of sniffed through that, and they've avoided doing things that over again. And guys like us really like the Easter eggs, but the narrative is definitely more important. And it wasn't the right time. If this is a door to the X-Men, this wasn't the right time to go all in on it.
This set the ground for that, but
which is fine. That's all we needed.
Which is good.
That's all we needed was the ground to be set.
So. Yeah, he could be Quicksilver still.
I think he should be Quicksilver still. Like,
it's really strange that we don't have a Quicksilver in this universe. I mean, I get it; it's separate, it's not the same. But particularly when you're talking about possibly Magneto, the X-Men, I don't know. They got it. I don't want to say they got to, but it's just weird not to have Quicksilver in the universe.
So the dynamic between the two of them did work a little bit, like with what they were doing on the show. I quite enjoyed it. They did have some pretty good chemistry. I do want to see them. The Kick-Ass line too was improvised. They didn't mean for that to be a hint to Kick-Ass, because the director was talking about how that's actually improv. The kids say Kick-Ass and they run away. Think about it, and they said Lizzie Olsen was just like Kick-Ass, like she was just improvising on the set, and they didn't even think twice about it until people started connecting the dots, and they were like, I don't know if I buy that, but that's like what that's what the director said.
Right.
And they probably were right, because I mean, like they didn't like to think about Mark Miller's stand like a creator owned material while doing this stuff. So I kind of buy that.
Yeah. So and then of course the other after credit scene was kind of a reminder of, hey, Skrulls are still around. They're still a thing. Don't forget about them.
So who is her? Okay, yeah, her friend that was the astrophysicist was a Skrull.
Yes,
of course. Of course that made sense. You know, Occam's razor. The simplest answer is usually the correct one. You know, That's
and
they've already confirmed she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2. So
of course.
Yeah. It's all tying in. It makes sense.
Of course. Makes perfect.
Which means if she's going to be part of it, where's she going right now in that end credits?
Triskelion.
Yeah. So she's going up to see Fury on the sword ship. So there's gonna be a lot involved with this.
I mean, when she turned into a scroll, I went, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
How did I not see? How did I not see that one coming? Like that was the most obvious one. Of course. Captain Marvel will have a scroll.
I know the Captain Marvel movie was not like everybody's favorite, but I gotta tell you, those scrolls amuse the hell out of me in that movie. I do not know why, but yeah, I don't know. That is actually a really good movie. It doesn't get enough.
I think that scene would have worked better if they had a side character who was there the whole time, who's the one who called her and turned into yeah.
It does. It is a little shoot in, but again, and I don't think they did a great job driving that character home enough to make that scene really work.
Yeah.
But it was enough to work, it's one thing I was like, this could have been done better. And I got disappointed when that was the credit sequence. I didn't know there was two. The good thing I stuck around. Because again, I was like, I watched it right away, right at the premiere time. So I didn't have any spoilers. And I was just like, oh, this is okay. Yeah, of course they're doing scrolls. That makes sense. There's got to be something else. Thank God for Wondergore Mountain. Because that was a good one.
Yeah. I mean, what?
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was going to say, did we beat our record? It's like,
well, it's fine. This is the closing. This is what we planned on this week. So
it takes a cool hour on my show as well. It just happens.
This is a good show, and it makes you think, and it makes you appreciate. And it's like I've said before, this is the closest thing we've had to stimulating the experience of reading comics.
Yeah.
So going forward, the other Marvel shows, do we kind of expect them to just be a one and done? And that's probably the best way to do these shows?
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because how long can Falcon and the Winter Soldier team up together?
Before they kill each other. That's ending with a murder, right?
If Riggs and Murtaugh taught me anything, until the grosses go down, that's the answer.
That's true. Yeah.
No, I think,
or one of them becomes anti-Semitic, but that's
well.
Moving on.
I think that you're better off doing these things done at one, because then you're not paying it into having to go back and having to reset. Like there's a freedom in doing these as just one show, because you get something creative like WandaVision that Kevin Feige had this amazing idea, and I don't want to see them do another WandaVision, because how would you do that? Why would you? How would you force Wanda back into that world? Like it doesn't make sense.
Well, it's good if they do it that way, because then they don't hit that power scaling / raise stakes game that you start to play when you've got a good show that goes on for multiple seasons. And it's like, how can you continually raise the stakes every season? And it starts to get ridiculous. So like at the end of Winter Soldier and Falcon, I'm assuming Falcon will, be accepted in the world as Captain America, and Bucky will go on to do something else. It's going to be a jumping off point for accepting Falcon as Captain America.
Maybe not. Right? I think Sam Wilson works better as Falcon. That's his identity. I've always been in the mind. My buddy Scott will agree with me on this. Like there's no reason just to make black characters into characters that already exist, just to kind of make feel about Falcon's
I'm just going by the comics. I don't know what
he's not. But he leaves. He's Falcon now. He's not Captain America.
And that's the whole thing. Like I agreed when, to me, Bucky becoming Captain America made sense, because they didn't have him back for that long before he took the mantle, and it's the whole like Dick Grayson becoming Batman, Bucky becoming Captain America. Like it made sense, and then he, Cap came back and he gave up the mantle, and then it was like, but Falcon had been a character for decades already, an already established hero of his own. And then so why would he give that up to take the mantle,
Yeah. And these things, they always feel they always feel temporary to me, you know, and they're supposed to. They're stunts to boost interest and get things going. But I mean, just like for this, I feel like Sam is Falcon. You know, I don't need him to be Cap. I think without Steve, there is no Captain America. Right? It's not the person. It's not it's not the brand. It's the person underneath that's important.
It's
you
not,
have two
things.
Yeah.
Two that defines me. It's who I am. Oh, sorry.
Fair enough.
There's two things working against you here, JD, as far as the Sam Wilson Captain America. Number one is when they made him Captain America in the comics, it was really fucking good.
Oh,
like,
why not?
Awesome writer.
No, yeah, of course.
People are going to clamor for that. And number two, and believe me, I'm not anti-woke, but let's face it, that's a woke move.
Oh,
right?
It is.
They wanted a black Captain America, which I get it, because believe me, I do know people that personally yearn for representation to see people that look like them be these important characters. As much as the quartering and everyone else poo-poos on that, it is actually a positive thing for people. So I think we're going to see Captain America, Sam Wilson. People love that series, and it's a good vibe, I guess.
Same token, Brubaker writing Winter Soldier as Captain America, same deal. Great series. Probably one of the best, Brubaker's probably the best Captain America writer ever. You know, if I'm staking my claim on this one. I hear what you're saying. Give me Isaiah Bradley would be what I would counter as. Because Isaiah Bradley or Elijah Bradley, which one came first? I always forget which one's which. The one from Truth. Give me that story. That's a story that would I think people, you want to appeal to a woke, give me Kyle Baker's Truth. That is a good story. You know, and I think that means a little bit more rather than taking away someone's identity and shoehorning them into something that's not their own. Whereas Isaiah Bradley being the first Captain America, you know, having all those parallels to the Tuskegee experiments, that's a good story.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It's
well, I mean, you could also in DC, you could say that they took Nightwing's identity away to give him Batman.
But they put the toys, they put them back.
Right.
That's the thing with comics. Is in comics it always goes back to how it was. Movies is a different world. We're in uncharted territory here.
Right.
Yeah.
This has never happened.
There's only so much de-aging technology that we have.
Right. We don't know. we're really in like, because anytime, like, again, you know me, I worship from the throne of Grant Morrison. Like, I love Batman and Robin, but we all knew that Bruce was coming back.
Right.
You know, when that happened, it's a great run. But
it is.
Dick is better as Nightwing. That's what he is.
Yeah.
You know? The only character it works on is Robin, where you can shift them around a little bit.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm going to I've my cat wants to come in. Continue. I'll be right there. Hold on. Sorry.
Oh, good. Now we can talk about him.
That's what we do when he's not on the show.
Yeah,
talk about him right now. He's not going to listen ever again.
I know, great. He's a son of a bitch. Let me tell you.
I mean, yeah, no, I agree too. Because it's funny. I was listening to another podcast earlier today along the same lines, Superman. You know, and there's all this talk about them doing the Black Superman with the new movie with Abrams, and it was like, so someone pointed out, it's like, just give me Icon. Like,
or Static Shock.
They bought Milestone Comics years ago. It's a black hero created by black creators. Like, that's more empowering than just give them black.
Yeah, Superman. But it's like, it's different though, because like Superman with J.J. Abrams and Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to make a lot more money than Icon, and it is a business. Right. Yeah. And DC builds in these Elseworlds things where you can have multiple interpretations of the same character. True. Like, that's the difference between DC and Marvel. Marvel is a through line, right? Marvel starts at Fantastic Four and it goes on. DC is like, oh, we got this, we got that, we got this. Oh, hey, this time goes in that. I mean, that's part of the DNA of DC Comics, is that you can venture out. Like, dude, Gotham by Gaslight changed everything. And even before that, we had Bob Haney's World's Finest or Brave and the Bold that didn't connect to anything.
Their most famous stories are what if stories, basically.
Yeah, the Elseworlds, and that's some of the best of
Yeah.
Kingdom Come, my favorite book. I mean, that's not mainstream DC. We read New Frontier. That's
Yeah.
DC that's clearly locked into the early 60s. So I mean, like, if you want to bring one of those to the screen, sure, by all means. Like, and it doesn't take away the fact that we have a bunch of other Superman. We still got Tyler, what's his nuts, on the show I'm not watching.
Right.
The Lois and Superman.
Lois,
Yeah.
Superman and Lois.
How was that show? Episode 2? Anybody watch it?
I did.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, JD, for your synopsis, by the way, because I almost watched that thing, but because of your review,
Well,
I learned.
I didn't dislike it. I just thought it wasn't for me.
But it
at
was
the end of the day.
CW. That's
was.
exactly what I wanted to
No,
hear. I was
no,
like, okay.
no,
It's
it does not feel like the other CW
It still
shows at all.
It's got enough.
very little of a CW sniff test.
How
to
many
it, you know?
times did Jordan cry in this episode? Was it less than 5?
Oh, criminy!
Wait, in episode 2, he didn't cry at
Yes.
all.
Oh, that's shocking to me.
But there
How-
was angst. I mean, there was lots of angst.
But that's the drama that you're always talking about. That's so important,
no
JD.
drama is not angst. Drama is conflict.
Yeah.
That's drama.
Well, there is
Drama is putting
conflict.
but that's just storytelling. It's putting characters in conflict. Like
But it's
rooting over it and being like, oh, I'm so
right.
mad as I don't like it. So.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to.
It's good. That's all I'm going to say. It's
Well,
good.
I don't doubt it. I'm not saying it's not good. I will not tell you that I didn't enjoy the
Yeah.
time I watched it. It just wasn't for me.
It probably is good, but what JD did, because I'm this superficial, okay? I'm the problem.
Me too.
I'll watch it and I'll see those kids fucking cry about something and I'll get pissed off. So I mean, it's all old man, boomer me. It's just I can't connect with the.
And it's not the show.
angst.
Like I said, I would have no problem with this if we had like 5 years of a good Superman show before, or if I didn't watch a whiny teenage Superman crying on a farm in Smallville for a decade.
For me, it's the fact of like I like good writing, and it pisses me off when the writers rely on characters acting out of character to drive a storyline or doing stupid things.
So
Like-
what did you see that made you think that? Because I didn't feel that at all
What from
the pilot episode. Nothing made me think anyone.
Well,
was
no,
being out of
that's the
character.
thing. That's the thing. Like I haven't seen that quite yet.
Oh,
There's
okay.
the second episode had a sniff of it. So I'm hoping that they don't continue down the line and plow right into normal CW country.
That's my thing. Is I just don't.
Which
wanna watch
character are you
teenagers.
talking about, John?
No, just those kids are like
Oh.
plot devices. Like at the worst time, one of them's going to get upset about how sucky his life is and do something stupid and drive a plot. Whereas like most normal kids, even stupid teenagers have some measure of self-preservation.
You know what bothers me the most
do you
about
know
I'm
about
gonna disagree
normal
with
kids?
you.
Hold on.
Right,
hold on.
I'm going to disagree with you there,
Hold
buddy.
on. Do you know what? This is what bothers me about CW shows. Is I spend my life around high school kids. They're funny.
Mhm.
Their lives revolve around being silly and being goofy. Like all of them live for it. And I never see that. You never, and especially the CW stuff, you never see that side of them. There's never like true teenage levity because it's always got to be extremes. It's either straight up comedy or straight up angst. You never capture what a teenager is. And that's like, and in comics, it goes that way a lot too. For the most, like Young Justice, the comic is probably the best interpretation of real teenagers being superheroes to me. Because there was a lot of humor and a lot of like down stuff and a lot of like angst too. Like the pendulum swung both ways. Peter David, amazing. But I mean, like that's what bugs me the most. Is like I spend my time with these kids, and I'm in them when they're like at their like lowest of lows and highest of highs. And the one consistent is they're freaking goofballs. And you can't tell me that's just because I'm around high school wrestlers. Like I'll say this to the day I die. What I do and the kids I work with are closer to teenage superheroes than anything else because they have to live these alternate lives, right? They have to balance their social life and chase this dream that they have. So, I mean, like, if my kids can sit there and make jokes about their penis, why can't I see kids making jokes about stuff on these shows? They don't live in angst. They don't.
All right. We're way off topic.
We talked about WandaVision for an hour.
What was it, Humbug?
So on that note, we're going to take our second and final commercial break, and we'll be right back to introduce our picks for Nerd Madness. All right, we're back, boys and girls, and we are going to now go around and pick our. So I took TV this year, as usual. JD's movies. John is anime.
Yeah, the throwaway anime that nobody can understand.
And
amen,
Don is comics. So let's go guests. Well, guests. I mean, you're not a guest. You're part of the team. But the guy who's not here all the time. Let's go with Don first.
Okay.
So what are your top 8 comics for 2020?
All right. Well, first I will preface this by saying my original list had Donnie Cates on it 4 times. Had to shave that down a little bit. And it was all Marvel. So I had to go through a couple iterations here because I didn't want my whole list to be Marvel Donnie Cates. Okay, so with that, here we go. Donnie Cates Thor. Now, I could have put Donnie Cates Venom in here, other Donnie Cates stuff, but and those were all on my list. But I shaved it down and just picked Donnie Cates Thor run. It's incredible. I don't personally have it in my pool. But what I can tell you is this series involves things like Thor going up against Galactus, beating him, and then making his helmet the Bifrost chamber. Okay. As well as in the Thor, Donnie Cates Thor, it canonizes the Justice League as existing in the Marvel universe. So
go on, explain.
Wait, what?
Well, they only show the flashes, but they pan all these worlds. And one of the worlds they talk about, the one, it's got the darkness, the Flash, and you see the blue streak. You see, a red streak, a green streak. Like, you don't see the characters, but it is heavily insinuated that the DC universe exists within Marvel. So, great series. That's Donnie Cates Thor.
As an Amaglam guy, I appreciate that.
Chip Zadarski's Daredevil. Again, not something I personally read week to week, but it's quality stuff. My brother is absolutely loving it. It's why it makes me laugh when people say, don't get political with Daredevil, because it's like, okay. Well, okay.
Yeah, you get religious with Daredevils.
Yeah. The next one is personal to me, and that's going to be Jonathan Hickman, X-Men, specifically the X of Swords event. Now, I will say for those that are like, why are you putting this on there? Because I acknowledge, so the X of Swords was set up as this big 10-on-10 tournament. All these combatants, mutants from Krakoa, mutants from Morocco. You got to find these mythical swords, and you're going to fight each other. And boy, that was a great setup. But when they actually got to the tournament, wacky, crazy things happened. Like it turned into an arm wrestling contest, or they did this great storyline where Cypher, not sure if you're familiar with Cypher, but his mutant power, right? Ever useful, he can discern and speak any language.
Right.
Well, right now, he's the only one that can talk to the island of Krakoa that they live on. Yet he was picked for this tournament and he doesn't know how to fight. That was a problem. What happened? They got to where he was going to fight, and instead of a fight, Saturine, the Majestrix of all reality, said, oh, you two, instead of fight, you're going to marry each other. Okay. So this epic sword tournament turned into kind of silly and almost inconsequential. But Apocalypse had some major development during this storyline. We all know that Apocalypse is that crazy villain who's only concerned about survival of the fittest. Well, we learned that he wasn't actually a villain. What he was doing is he was in another world, right? Akaro, and this demon horde took over Akaro, and his wife and children, which were the original 4 horsemen, sent him to Earth because he was the weakest of them. And they said, go to Earth, we'll fight off this horde, you go to Earth, and you make sure that they're fit for that when this battle comes to them, they could take care of it. That is some major shit for one of my favorite characters. So the event was kind of stupid, but there was a lot of awesome character development for one of my favorite characters. So I'm putting it on the list. Okay, that was a lot of explanation. I'm sorry. Next one is going to be Al Ewing and Joe Bennett's Immortal Hulk.
Okay.
Awesome series.
Mm-hmm.
I included this one. So now we're done with Marvel. McFarlane's Spawn. I gave issue number 311 a 10 out of 10 on my reviews.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put it on this list because when I did the review, I took time to talk to somebody that actually been following Spawn since day one, and it was just significant and awesome. Okay. Friend of the show, Rich Duick, Sea of Sorrow. So I want to put him on here. I'm not a horror fan, but I know JD is. JD raves about this. My brother raves about this. The artwork is crazy good. So absolutely, Rich Duick's Sea of Sorrows. Scott Snyder's Dark Knight Death Metal. Not a DC guy, as you know, but I wanted to have DC representation here, as well as this is the event that led us to where we are now, which is, hey, we can bring the multiverses back. We're all good to go. So that all comes from this Dark Knight Death Metal series. And then last on my list, Ryan Parrots, so not a super famous guy, but he did a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT crossover that was great. We're talking about Green Ranger Shredder, right? We're talking about Ninja Turtle Battlezords, like just crazy shit, and establishing that the TMNT and the Power Ranger universe are one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it actually sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now I know JD and Rich are going to work together and make sure that his book wins.
Oh yeah, by the way, Rich is going to win.
Yeah. Like we know this. It's
just like I did with Aubrey a couple years ago. Remember, this was my brainchild.
All right. Let's now move on to everyone's favorite category, anime.
And by everybody, you mean me. You mean me. That's what you mean.
Dude, anime is popular. I see it all over my Twitter timeline all the time. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I see it all the time.
Yeah.
I love anime. I just can't watch anything until it gets to about 5 years old first. I don't know what that is about me, but that's just... I just rewatched the whole Gundam Wing series the other day. Boy, that's a great series now that I'm older.
Yeah.
It hits hard now that I'm older.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good one. The list I've got is made up of a whole... I mean, the beginning of last year really sucked because it just, there was so little that was being released because a lot of these are done week by week by what are essentially sweatshops of animators. And with the pandemic, everything got screwed up. But it's recovering brilliantly. And like all the good stuff that might have been interspersed between all the bad stuff last year is now all being released at the same time. So what we have is Attack on Titan, the final season, season 4. And it's one of the most popular animes around, reaching like My Hero Academia status. And it's about a dystopian world where there are these things called Titans that are like basically giants that walk around eating people, and like they're nearly indestructible, except for a bunch of guys who have these pneumatic devices that they can use to fly around using cables and hit their weak spots like the back of their head, the back of their necks or something, and yeah, there's a lot of it's a huge drama. So and this is like from what I understand, like it's actually just finishing up. And from what I understand, like its final season is like what the final season of Game of Thrones should have been. So they're actually, heating it, doing it right. Number 2 is Jiu Jitsu Kaizen, which is a brand new kid on the block. And it's about a guy who finds out that he's basically a magical container for a demon. Like he goes around eating the parts of this demon that were left around causing trouble, and he's basically reassembling the parts within him, but he can do it without that demon controlling him. and the characterizations in this are really good. And like anybody who's seen like the original opening for this, the one thing that they all freak about is a fighting panda. So and all I could say is at one point there was a robot versus a panda. Okay. Like and it was awesome. It was as awesome as you could have hoped. So, but again, the characterizations and the writing on this are really good. So, and a lot of really good characters that you can care about or are really entertaining. Number 3 is Demon Slayer, which was it's the only show where episode 19 trended on Twitter last year. The second season was being put out just as a large movie. That hit fourth quarter last year. It was the 4th highest grossing movie in the world of 2020. And it wasn't even released in the US yet, or Australia, or a few other markets. So Demon Slayer, the movie, the Mugen Train, I would like, when it comes out here, that would be actually a good thing to see. It's by a studio called Ufotable, and the animation is some of the best you've ever seen. That episode 19 literally broke the internet with how good it was. After that, you have number 4, Ruby, season 8. Ruby's still going strong. It's a show that was originally created by Monty Oum, who died right into the 2nd season. He passed away tragically, and Rooster Teeth is now keeping it going. And the storyline and the characters are all fun. It's a really kind of interesting type of animation that they use. It's, an American animation, but the animation is almost like cell shading, but kind of jerky a little bit, but it's still really good. And the fight scenes are unparalleled. And let's see, number 5, Dr. Stone. Everybody in the world is turned to stone, and 3,700 years later, Senku wakes up. He breaks out of the stone, and he's a scientific genius, and he's decided he's going to bring this new stone world back to the age of, electronics and everything in his lifetime. And he has to fight against a bunch of people that, don't want that. Like, they'd rather just rule the world as like Stone Age, warmongers. So that's an amazing series, because you actually go through, as he's making stuff, like a cell phone with stone tools. Like all the tiers of technology you need from start to finish. It's an amazing show. It's fun. Number 5, Dr. Stone season. Number 6, A Certain Scientific Railgun. There's a couple of series. This is part of a larger world. There's a certain scientific railgun, a certain magical index, and a certain scientific accelerator. And the other shows have been okay, but every time that place touches a certain scientific railgun, the characterizations, the storylines are just awesome, and it's a fun show too. Number 7 is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, season 2.
There we are.
Yeah. Also known affectionately online as Slime Art Online, which is a play on Sword Art Online. But anyway, it's just a really fun. It's like playing a game that's an isekai but on easy mode. It was until season 2 hit. Now there's actual conflict, bad things that are happening. So there's a challenge, really well written series. And finally, number 8, I know I'm taking longer than David hoped, because he's looking at me, is So I'm a Spider, So What? This starts off looking like mid-tier isekai trash, with a couple of otakus and a couple of tsunderes thrown in, and now it's turning out to be a very high tier, very interesting isekai where, it seems like there's a lot more going on in the world than just, somebody playing God mode, playing a RPG on God mode. So, yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and it's starting to get really interesting. So there you go.
Cool. All right.
So, did Castlevania not release anything this year?
They had a season 2, but these are more popular.
Okay.
Like I was going with them, like I could have easily, if I had 16, I would have easily added. I definitely would have added that. I would have added a whole bunch of things. But
I was eagerly awaiting the
spots.
compound sentence titles. So you're the last 2 you gave them to me, though. I was.
Oh yeah, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Yeah.
Yeah. My Homer Crab saw my grandma naked, and now he's Larry the Lobster. Stuff like that.
JD loves those too, but the more popular ones are
Okay.
I don't know.
Anime people are weird. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do the television list, but I want to verify something with JD and Don, because John got upset at my list. We're only including stuff that came out in 2020, correct?
Oh, I did from tournament to tournament.
Oh.
I mean, if one of the series that I had some issues come out in 2019, but yeah, the majority of them were 2020.
Yeah, mine are majority of mine are 2020. I'm pretty sure all mine are 2020.
I mean, all of mine started in 2020. Some of the seasons for anime are a little bit weird. So we're about to get into
mine were all scheduled to come out in 2020.
He was upset. Yeah, I was about to say he's upset that I didn't include a particular show, but it technically came out in 2021.
Particular show that we just spent an hour talking about.
No, that's a 20. You know what?
Yeah, I know.
Put that in 2021 because that'll dominate.
Yes, exactly.
I'm fine. Yeah. I'll allow that because that show was supposed to come out in 2021. So
yeah,
if you put it on, I wouldn't fight you.
All right. Well, let's start off. I'm going to start off with Stargirl. Again, it technically it was a 2019, but most people didn't discover it till 2020 because it came out on the CW, and I talked about it a lot when it came out. I think it was one of the best things.
It came out on DC Universe first. That's why nobody saw it first.
Exactly. I think it's one of the best things that DC's done TV wise. I'm going to follow us up with a show that got a lot of mixed reviews from diehard fans versus casual fans versus new fans. But I think, it's popular enough to keep on here. So, of course, we're talking about the one and only captain of the Enterprise that people like, and not Kirk, Picard.
Say Janeway?
Yeah. No, actually, the
TV
most
series.
popular one is Cisco. So,
okay. So then I am going to
It's a friend of mine.
Hold on. Let me get back to this one. All right. So then, of course, obviously, the other show that I have to include is the Mandalorian Season 2. We got our Luke Skywalker moment that we all wanted.
We didn't know we wanted it, but we got it, and we were really happy about it.
I highly expect.
Even Mark Hamill was happy about it.
I highly expect that show to dominate in the voting. We'll see. Another good show that was based on a comic book that a lot of people didn't watch. I watched the first couple episodes and I liked it, but I didn't go back to it. And that's Snowpiercer. What?
No, I don't. I don't know. I couldn't get into that one, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a personal pref.
A lot of people don't like the train concept, but I think that's done to show the separation of classes. That's the metaphor in the comic, and that's why they're doing it in the show. I don't know. I like the comic, so of course, I don't know how much of this you watched, John, but you raved about it when it was coming out. Hellstrom.
Oh yeah, no, that worked out really well. It's really sad that it's another casualty.
Yeah. This one's for JD. Lovecraft Country.
Good show.
Yeah. And then this one's for all of us. Animaniacs, The Return. Okay, so
No Watchmen?
I thought it was 2019.
20? Yeah, I think it was.
I don't know. It got all the awards this year, so that's why.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I thought that was 2019. All right, so I didn't. Okay,
2019 Europe.
I had a big issue with this show. I made a stink about it. There's an article on the website about it. I decided I didn't want to watch it anymore, so I might scrub it and replace it with WandaVision. That would be the boys.
That would give
2.
Mandalorian some competition, because otherwise we're just vying for second place.
I support this decision. I think you should remove, because you didn't like the boys, and if you don't like a show, it shouldn't be on your nerd madness list.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think you should. I as your lawyer, I think you should remove. I think you should remove the boys season 2 and include WandaVision.
All right, and that'll give.
We have dedicated the last 9 weeks of our show to it,
and it'll give Mandalorian some competition. So
yes.
All right, so there we go. That's the official. Boys season 2 is out. WandaVision in. All right. Now this had to have been a difficult list to compile for you, JD, this year.
Guys, this year sucked. This should have been a really good year for movies, 2020. And nobody knew what to do with the COVID and the whatnot. So things got leaked out here and there onto streaming services. Nothing really quite stuck. So it was really hard for me to put this list together. And it's not, I'll be real, it's not my best list. But I did it and I seeded it because I'm a sports guy. And I seeded my tournament. So I'll go from 8 to 1. My number 8 seed was Enola Holmes, a movie that John recommended on the show that I watched, and I was like, "Hey, this is fun."
Yeah.
So
it
reminded me that boy, Henry Cavill is the perfect guy to play Superman. When are we going to let him play Superman?
Yep.
So yes,
never.
Enola Holmes, my number 8. Number 7, a movie I didn't like a lot, but I had to give respect to because of how bold it is and how crappy a year it was at the box office. Tenet from Christopher Nolan.
That was the 5th highest grossing movie, right after an anime movie.
I mean, it's a bold movie. I didn't love it, but it's hard for me to deny that it was cool.
Yeah.
But it made absolutely no impression on me. My 6th seed is a movie that I thought I would like a lot more, but left me very cold at the end, was Wonder Woman 84. I expected to perform higher, but it was just kind of there. My 5th seed, a movie I thought I'd hate, but I wound up loving, Bill and Ted.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I forgot about that.
A lot of people did. I quite like this Bill and Ted sequel. It should have been terrible, but it was like all the Bill and Ted movies. It's so earnest, and it's there's this charm and earnesty in these characters that make them appealing even years after the fact. So it was quite good. My next movie is one that just came out that was supposed to come out in 2020 and found a new life on Amazon just this past weekend, and that's Coming to America. If you liked Coming to America, you should be mildly entertained with this movie. Coming to America is probably my favorite comedy film. It's my if I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to put on Coming to America because it's always going to make me laugh. Coming to America is a nice sequel, worth it for Wesley Snipes alone. Wesley Snipes absolutely steals the show in Coming to America.
I got to watch that.
He plays the son of remember Coming to America 1, Eddie Murphy is betrothed, Akeem is betrothed to the girl that barks like a dog. This is her brother, is the general of the neighboring country called Nextoria. And good stuff. And Wesley Snipes is chewing on the scenery, and they do this big grand introduction of him, and they go, "The inspiration for Mufasa." And they cut back to Eddie Murphy, just this little fourth, he does his little fourth wall breaking moments, and it's just hilarious. And Wesley Snipes just kind of grooves out. He just owns every scene he's in. He shouldn't be as funny as he is, but it's great. I really enjoyed Coming to America. Number 4.
Yeah, I gotta watch
Number
it.
3 was one of the first films to make the journey from saying screw the theaters, we're going to go right to streaming, and I really liked it. My little boy loved it, and I was really entertained by this story, and that was Onward.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yes, it was. My number 2 movie, similar situation 6 months later, Soul.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Soul is very good. It's very, very good. I highly recommend you guys watch it.
Mm.
And my number 1 movie was a little film that came out, and I'm serious by this, is a little film that came out, hit Amazon Prime about a month ago, that was one of the best dramas that I've ever seen. Regina King stole the show on Watchmen as a phenomenal actress. And I'm not sure how many directorial movies she's made, but this might be her best, and that's One Night in Miami. What a phenomenal film this is. It's about Jim Brown, Cassius Clay.
Oh, I've heard about this. They just talked about this on NPR.
Yeah. Yes, it was Jim Brown, Malcolm X, Cassius Clay, and I've drawn a blank on the other one was. Sam Cooke. They all get together in a hotel room one night in Miami, and it's a great character study. And it was probably, again, a slow year, but this was probably my favorite film of the year. It was really, really good.
No Mulan live action.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it was. I didn't like Mulan all that much. The original.
Wait, what about Bloodshot and Sonic?
I never saw Sonic, and I can argue that I never saw Bloodshot because you made me watch it and I fell asleep. So,
Yeah,
paid for it and fell asleep.
Very mad at myself, but at the same time, I wasn't going to watch it again.
Mm.
Like, I fell asleep in this movie. Oh, well. So yeah, wasted money. So it was not a good year at the box office. We were supposed to have a lot of really good movies. We were supposed to get Dune. We were supposed to get Godzilla versus Kong. We were supposed to get what Marvel movie were we supposed to get last year? I don't even remember.
We were supposed to get Doctor Strange,
yes.
and Black Widow.
Yes, we were supposed to get those. We didn't.
And
get
Eternals.
Those.
Yeah, I think Eternals was supposed to come out.
I'm okay. We missed that one. That movie's having a hard time. That trailer better be awesome. That was the movie. That was the year of movies in 2021. Not our best foot forward.
You mean 2020?
2020 into 2021.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls.
A collective.
Yeah. There are our picks for Nerd Madness. We will have more information of that. Follow it on Twitter for the voting. We'll probably do it on Facebook as well this year. And we shall see who will reign supreme.
Cool. It's not going to be anime.
It's going to be Rich. I'm telling you guys this right now. I'm going to campaign for it right now. It's going to be CSROs.
You think CSROs could beat out WandaVision?
To motivate me. Motivate me.
I don't know.
WandaVision is going to be hard to beat out, though. WandaVision was pretty damn awesome.
I know there's a huge groundswell behind Attack on Titan, so season 4 might have enough hype to give it a run for its money.
Hey, what's not going to win anything is the movies this year.
No.
Yeah.
It was not the strongest year.
I think if you put Sonic on there, he might have won.
I don't think so. Although it is Jim Carrey returning to Jim Carrey finally, at least he finally was funny again.
They're making a second one, so
yeah, we talked about it on the show, and I said that movie didn't make money, and I was wrong.
It made money
in a year that nothing really made money. Sonic performed well, so I stand corrected. But I didn't see the movie, so I can't rank it.
All right. Well, on that note, boys and girls, let's get some recommendations from our people here. Don, get some recommendations. Tell people where they can find Omega Level Nerds.
Yeah, well, that's simply by going to @Omega Level Nerds on Twitter. That'll have a link to our YouTube. And of course, I share the Apple Podcast link and all that stuff. So just go on Twitter @Omega Level Nerds. Show us some love there if you would, please. And thank you. Recommendations. I already mentioned it, and I don't know why. I just decided to go on YouTube and search up the Gundam Wing episodes. They're all there for free.
On YouTube?
And yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all there. Just put Gundam Wing episode 1 dubbed, and away you will go. And it's always been one of my favorite series because of the visuals. But it was something that that I had watched 10, 15 years ago. And so I decided, let me pop this bad boy in. I want to watch fighting robots. But then it's like, oh, wow, this is, now that I'm 40, this is like really relevant. So yeah, definitely do it. It's free. And yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Cool. John?
Actually, even though I promised myself I wouldn't, I spent the $30 premium and I got Raya and the Last Dragon. And it was I mean, if I could have seen it in the theater, which would have actually cost me less, minus like, well, a popcorn or anything like food, like I would have gone and seen it. Definitely. It is totally worth it.
Cool.
Like it is really good. And the animation is getting to a point where I don't know how much better it can get without starting to step into like actual reality. Like the animation in this is amazing. And it was all the animators, they were all working during, from home.
Right.
And apparently when you give them time, extra time to do a movie and you let them do it at home, they just go all freaking out. Like this is the best CGI movie I've seen. That just the movement and the fight scenes and everything and the way things move. I don't know how much farther we can get before we're doing photorealistic movies.
I came across that as I was on Disney Plus, but I just saw The Last Dragon, and I was like, Bruce Leroy?
Yeah, I was going to say Bruce Leroy.
That's what I was thinking.
We are the last dragon.
You control the power of the glow.
Glow.
What a great movie.
Absolutely. How that has not been remade yet, I do not know. Show enough.
We met the guy. We met the guy who played Shonuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
In upstate New York, the Finger Lakes Comic-Con.
He is an underrated villain. He is literally one of the great villains of the 80s.
I agree with that.
Very nice guy, though. All right, JD, what's your recommendation?
I have absolutely nothing to recommend this weekend. This weekend was a lot of disappointments for me. I'm a big wrestling guy, right? So I strap down once a quarter. I pay $50 to watch a pay-per-view because I support All Elite Wrestling. It is my favorite United States-based promotion, and they promised me an exploding barbed wire death match in which the ropes would be replaced with barbed wire, and anytime you hit them, there would be an explosion. And I've watched these matches before; it's all smoke and mirrors, right? But the end, it's supposed to be this big, giant boom. So they get to the end of this match, right? It was a pretty good match. I quite enjoyed it, and the explosion didn't work.
Oh,
and you just got sparklers. It just went. Boom, and it was a little pop, and the whole crowd would boo. And they tried to steer into the skid and make it like storyline based, but it was like, wow, it just totally zapped everything. I'm like, and they had to sell like it was this big dramatic thing, but everyone knew it didn't work, but they tried. So that's my anti-recommendation of the week. As far as I don't know, go watch. I'm probably going to watch Gundam Wing, to be honest, because I remember catching a couple episodes in college and being like, "This is cool. I have no idea what's going on."
Yeah.
So I might, now that I'm older, I might jump into that. Actually, go watch One Night in Miami. It's really good.
Cool. Well, I would recommend that everyone heads on over to superheroespeak.com where they can find the podcast every week. Links to our social media at the top of the page, and of course, reviews by our good friend D Square. And I don't really have anything too exciting this week either. Flash is back.
they're all coming back now.
The premiere was a little underwhelming because they kind of wrapped up some stuff from last season, because the last season was cut short, and I was like, I don't know if I like what they did there. And not spoiling anything, but Superman and Lois, I think, still keeping the quality at this point. So go watch that. Don, watch it. Give it a chance.
Maybe.
Come on, it's 2-1.
I'm just such a TV snob. It's hard for me to go from like Endgame, WandaVision, then I don't know. You know what? I like you so much, Dave. I'm going to do it just for you. How about
Ah,
that?
there you go. Good.
That's-
Somebody
that's
likes me.
That soured me because I watched Superman Lois and then I watched WandaVision, and that made me.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
If I can have one person like me, I'm glad it's you, Don.
We all like
All
you.
right.
We just don't like your TV picks.
All right. Well, on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for hanging out. Don't let your kid get caught in the door. Have a good week.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip from the Superhero Speak podcast. If you like what you saw, hit that like button. You can also leave us a comment and give us your thoughts. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button because a new podcast goes up every week and you don't want to miss it. And if you want to see the full episode, of course, the link is in the description below. So thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.